What is up? Kevin Hale here, doing another round of shots on this Monday night, March 24th, 2025. Yeah, it is Monday night. Why? Because yesterday we got to watch our Cats take care of business, take care of Illinois, get to the Sweet 16, something we haven't done in how many seasons, Corey?
6 years.
6 years. I'm going to just put my man Corey on the spot with all kinds of stats tonight. TB, Doc, Corey Price, welcome back, sir. Dave O's in the house. Buzz Baker will be joining us soon as he makes his way home makes his way to home. Guys, good to see you all. How's everybody doing real quick? TB, you? How are you?
I'm excellent. As you can see, I've got fireworks. So there you go.
Is that never mind? So Doc, how are you?
I am doing fine. I got back safely from Milwaukee, left shortly after all the post-game festivities, drove the 6.5 hours, got home about 3:30 a.m. So I am dragging just a little bit, but ready to go, ready to talk some basketball.
Fire breathing dragon? No. Okay, never mind. Dave-O.
I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing about as great as I could ever be, 6 years ago on this day. So everything's doing fantastic. We're ready to go, ready to celebrate.
And our man, Corey Price. Welcome back, sir. How are you, man?
Good. I just had a typical, boring, uneventful Monday. So good.
Well, I'm glad that's a nice little segue because here's the thing. Corey Price to BBN. To know him is to love him. He's the man with the stats, the man with the numbers. And today, man, took a hard turn. Something that you were involved with that I'm like, what? WTF? Corey, can you give us a summary of what happened to you today?
I can try my best. So this morning, I tweeted out a picture of Dan Dockich from, I believe, high school, probably freshman year or something like that. Unfortunately, someone took that picture and sent Dan a DM with some language that I'm not going to use and will never use. And Dan then thought that I used a burner account to send him that message. And I tried my best to explain to Dan that wasn't me. And, he...
You along with about 100 of your BBN friends tried to explain it wasn't you.
I tried my best to defend myself and tell him it wasn't me. So that's pretty much all I can do, honestly.
Jesus Christ. Go ahead, Terry.
I mean, Dockich, he's just a jerk, right? Like he feuds with people on Twitter. He's mean and vindictive and just like not a nice guy. And of all the Kentucky folks to say they did something like this, Corey is the last person like in the entire fandom that I would put that up there. And Corey was very gracious responding to it, more gracious than I would have been in his response. And as far as I know, I've not seen like an apology where I think one was warranted from Dockich.
Yeah. I think the only apology was Corey. Just right. You're the one that apologized, Corey?
Yeah. I mean, I apologized to Dan that someone would say something like that to him. But yeah, there's been nothing from Dan that said he's sorry yet. So we'll see.
How much with Dockich, these guys, how much of that is a gimmick too? That he knows that he can say and do the things that will press the buttons and get the reactions, clickbait, if you will. Yes, no, maybe. I mean, a good soundbite, but that's a little over the top.
I just think he's a miserable person. Like he has feuded with the ESPN radio station in Louisville and those guys and tried to get those guys fired. Like he's got a whole resume of just being clueless. But this means we're back. We've got national reporters feuding with the BBN. We're back, baby.
That's right.
We are so back. I have to real quick. I'm streaming on X, and YouTube. And I use StreamYard. So right now, StreamYard, if anybody's commenting on the X feed, I can't see it. If you want to put a take, comment, challenge these guys, complain, whatever, send, or some text love messages in written form, you go on the YouTube link. It's on the page too, and then you can add comments there. Appreciate everyone for joining. Doc, I'll start with you. Kentucky women's hoops, they concluded their season. What was it? What day was that? Sunday. Overtime loss to some other Wildcats. Really good season. The season, what was their final record, Doc? 23-8. Does that sound right? Something like that. 23-8. Hello, maybe. I don't know. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I don't know the exact numbers, but it was a great season.
Great season, and not to
overall
mention
great season. Hey, I apologize. I'm having a little bit of an
I hear something. Is that a frog? I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Okay, Doc, can you hear us? I don't know if you can. Doc, get out, come back in. So I'll Terry, you're everyone. I mean, we're all so. I don't know what's going on. It's live. This is a live show. Terry, the women,
Yes.
they have 23-8. Coach Brooks, Sporting News, National Coach of the Year.
Yes.
And let's give our coach some flowers. There's over 300 college basketball teams in D1. I mean, that's a freaking achievement. So Terry,
Yeah.
your take on the women?
Yeah, I mean, for as much praise as Pope has gotten, deservedly so. I think you have to look at historic Memorial Coliseum and also give Coach Brooks his due. They were short-staffed with some injuries and things like that, with a short bench, and they really turned it around. Hosted, which is a big accomplishment. Hosted, the first two rounds, and just one of those things. The Kansas State game just coming up short. It was a Georgia Amore shot at the buzzer. Didn't quite get over the front of the rim there.
That play design, though, was great.
I was screaming. I'm like, why is she inbounding? Like, why are you having Georgia Amore inbound the ball? But
then you saw why.
yeah, it was great. It's just one of those things. But yeah, just a great season. Can't say enough about what Coach Brooks has done.
Davo, what you say?
Yeah, that was a fantastic season. It would be hard for a lot of fan bases to say that, a round of 32 loss was a successful season. But man, this program coming off 24 wins in 2 years, to like 27, 28 wins this year. I mean, that is absolutely great. It was extremely heartbreaking to see them get 5 chances to score the winning bucket. But it also just really irked me that they left that girl wide open again, after 7 threes. But, there's only so much you can say. There really is no nitpicking on this team. Kenny Brooks deserves all the credit in the world for what he did. And I'm so excited for year 2 to see what they have for us.
Same. Corey, did you tooting your horn again? Weren't you doing something with the women's tournament?
I wasn't doing anything per se, but they gave me a press pass and they allowed me to sit close to watch the game pretty much.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
that you did it though, right?
That's a pretty big deal, Corey.
So you are doing something.
Well,
What's your take on the women's season?
It was a great. Well, I guess great's not the best word. It was a good season. Brooks has brought a style of basketball. It's fun to watch. He brought in great players. Unfortunately, we only have Georgia for 1 year. She was phenomenal. Not sure we'll see a point guard like her for a while. I think it's kind of funny. He was named Sporting News National Coach of the Year, but wasn't named Coach of the Year in our own conference. But that's besides the point. Yesterday was Disappointing. You can't 14-3 and expect to win. But even with giving 14 threes, they still had a chance at the end. Just came up short. But I'm looking forward to the future. Brooks has some good girls coming in. Of course, Strack's coming back. She's awesome. She was SEC Defensive Player of the Year. So I'm looking forward to next year.
Doc, can you talk to us now?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have all sorts of internet problems. I promise I paid my bill. Let me try to switch over to my phone, and we'll see if we can get this to work a little bit better.
Okay. What's all right? Any more women's takes? Dave, TB. Let's get the women out of our system.
The Alabama Maryland game that just ended was pretty good. That one went to overtime. I've been watching the women's tournament. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Didn't UConn like really beat the crap out? What was that? What was it, Corey? What was that? You know, score? Didn't they win almost? I mean, seriously, it was closer to 100 than like 50.
You know, those first round women matchup like that. It's just you're going to see that, and you got to feel kind of bad because I mean, there's being overmatched and then there's being grossly overmatched. You know, the talent level in women is a whole lot different than the talent level in men. But you know, these smaller schools, they get a chance to take on the monster schools like that, and you know, it's basketball. But yeah, it's rough to watch sometimes.
Just for the record, the talent level with men so much superior than the women. You are talking basketball. You're not. You're not making a general statement.
No, absolutely not. No, please. I already had enough shit
for our female audience out there.
Yes.
It's at Big Blue Nation D1.
Yes.
All right, we're on Doc. Let's. Where is he? Okay, he's trying to come back.
All right, I'm back.
I think if you put the bling on, Doc, that would help the reception.
It could be. I'm willing to try anything. But anyway, sorry I missed your talk on Kentucky women. Let me just add that those of us who were in Milwaukee were fully tuned in. You know how those media rooms are. They're huge. They're vast. We're all gathered around a table. I think there was Brian Milam and Lee K. Howard, Jeff Picoro. When that shot by Amor didn't go in, I mean, she could hit that thing 1,000 times out of 1,000 times. When that bounced off the rim, there was just this collective groan. And everybody around us didn't know what was going on. I mean, nobody cares about Kentucky women's basketball except us. They probably thought that Duke had lost or something like that. But it was heartbreaking. And to do it within community, that meant something extra special.
Yeah. Again, that play call, Terry. I was with you when Amor's taking the ball out. I'm thinking, what the fuck are they doing?
I yelled at my wife. I'm like, what are we doing?
Yes.
And it was one of those. It was a great design. It really was a great design play.
And she had a good look too.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. Sometimes the ball bounces that way. I mean, it's sports, right?
Exactly. All right. What we got? Oh, there's this men's program of ours that got the program itself got the monkey off its back. TV.
Yeah.
Got that first round win, got that first tournament win in a long time, got us to the Sweet 16. You know, according to Dave Baker, you know, you don't care for Pope. It's, you know, this. What was your take after? I mean, do you summarizing? How much do you remember from Sunday, and what you remember? Please talk.
Yeah, I went pretty hard a little early. Started pregame a little early on Sunday between both the men's and the women's games. But I'm not anti-Mark Pope. I don't know why that's out there, but it was great for him to get that first win against Troy. and I was really impressed with how good they looked against Illinois last
Very
night.
good.
I mean, it was a wire to wire, keeping them at arm's length for most of the night, and I kept waiting for Illinois to go on that run, but it just didn't materialize. Like I would have to look at the report to see. I don't think they scored like 3 straight trips. Like the defense, and Coach David Sisk has got some clips out there about how active the defense was for Kentucky, which to me, if we're talking about things Pope did, I never thought this team had second weekend defense capabilities the way they looked in January.
That level, yes.
And then all of a sudden, I mean, Illinois wasn't getting any open looks. So that to me bodes well as we look forward to next weekend.
Davo, your take.
I mean, so the last time we was in the Sweet 16, I was 32 years old. So I can say that now because I'm cruising into my 40s now. So I almost felt like I had to say that. But, honestly.
What was it officially? What was the last time we were in Sweet 16? What year?
2019.
Was it 19? Okay. Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, like TB said, the defense just came out to play. We've seen it over the last, few games. They've gotten better and better and better with the ball screens and all that and chasing people off the 3-point line. They have they say there's 2 lottery picks possibly in that starting 5. And one of them Kentucky recruited, right? I think. One of them. Yeah. But so. I mean, but seeing what Illinois did against Xavier kind of scared the shit out of me, to be honest. The way they were just shooting threes left and right, and they were all going in and stuff. Yeah. So that scared me because that kind of gave me, deja vu of what happens to Kentucky into the tournament. I'm like, here we go again. But no, the defense stepped up. Amari played well whenever he got switched out on the guards. And man, I mean, I'm excited. I can go on and on and on, but I'm just so pumped. And I know who we're talking about, who we're going to play next, and we'll talk about that a little later because I have my feelings about them. But man, I'm excited. So let's go.
Yeah, you mentioned Amari, and there could be some nitpicking I can bring up from yesterday, but I'll save that for later. Corey, your take on the 2 games and the fact that we're in the Sweet 16.
It was an impressive weekend, like the guys brought up. It's probably the most active, aggressive I've seen the team on defense possibly all year. A lot of deflections, a lot of steals. It was awesome to see. It's like I said, something we hadn't seen all year. Colin Chandler he's improving game by game by game. That first 3 he took, I was like, my goodness. I mean, he just pulled up from like unreal. So I love what we're doing on both. I say bring on that filthy orange team,
Filthy orange team. I need to find a way to incorporate what's that around the horn where you make a point, you get all these points, which I still never have figured out what constitutes the number of points. But I just want to be able to ding, 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 to give you guys props.
Well, Corey would win because he got all the stats. He would kill us.
Oh, I know, but Doc, you were there.
Yeah, I didn't see any of the games, so I don't feel like I can comment. I was so high up that
you were so high or so high up? So high up. Right.
It was way up there. If you're familiar with NBA stadiums, they're all like that. Whether it's the Madison Square Garden or the United Center, they've got the bulk of the peanut gallery media, which I consider myself an integral part of the peanut gallery media, way up there on top. So unless you're somebody big, a big name like Dan Dockich, you're not going to see any of the action. You're going to be way up there, binoculars or optometrist exam needed. It was wild. I'm still on my way getting down from there. It was a long, long way up. But as far as Kentucky moving on, Sweet 16, it's a great feeling. It's just like old times. I love that feeling. I was fully expecting to make that drive back all depressed, ready to write up a column about how this season was okay, but wasn't just super, super great. but the whole perspective changed.
That your take and him Buzz coming on, perfect timing. And Buzz, we're at the conclusion of what I'm asking. Good to see you, Buzz. Hope you're doing well. Your take on the weekend, Sweet 16 bound, baby.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry. I've been in negotiations all afternoon with the NCAA. I'm trying to get the rights for Saturday's news conference up at Lucas Oil Stadium after Chris Beard and the Rebels advanced to the Elite Eight. And I think the audience for the questioning, I bet that he has got a picture of John up in his office. He is Ole Miss's bulletin board material.
That's my coach. That's my coach.
That's right.
You watch your
like
mouth.
My coach. There you go.
You watch your mouth. By the way, Dave Baker is the big name who would have been seated courtside. He wouldn't have been one of these no names like me up there in the rafters riding for the Manchester Enterprise. No, this is Dave Baker, Kentucky Wildcats scribe.
Okay,
voice of the program. He would have been courtside.
First of all, I'm still a landowner in Owsley County, which is right next to Clay County, where Manchester is. So don't try to put that highbrow stuff on me. I was doing stuff for the studio, serving my listeners, and then I actually bought tickets and took one of the kids down to the games at Rupp Saturday night, sitting there with the people, Tennessee and Auburn people, and then had a chance to get that insider information that only I can get by talking to the Tennessee crew. Had a nice conversation with Commissioner Greg Sankey, who was there. And, so anyway, I think it's great. I thought it was great before. If they hadn't gotten there, I think it's still great. What the dude has done, I don't know what your criteria are, but I mean, his reaction to his result was much different than it was for the two-time national championship coach. That's all I'm saying. And I love me some Mark Pope.
What just happened?
Doc, did we hear your twin brother?
Dave was talking so much, I felt like I needed two of me. Just to even things out a little bit.
TV, going back to you, we touched on this. That defensive effort yesterday was just stellar, and that one play where it was, I want to say, it was like a missed shot, and Illinois got the rebound, but that steal Butler had late in the game. That was so sweet
to hit Garrison. That's the thing, is we haven't really been turning teams over, and Lamont Butler has really provided that we're getting in the passing lanes, forcing bad passes. We saw Amari Williams get out on the run in the passing lane. So if the defense is going to be that kind of active moving forward, I like what we're seeing, because the offense has stayed efficient. And if Colin Chandler is going to feel confident enough to take and hit that shot, and if Kobe Bray is going to put the ball on the deck a little bit and kind of move around like Steph Curry, I like what we're doing.
You brought up a couple players. Let's stay with that. Dave, I'll switch to you. Who stood out, man? Who shined to you? Who had the weekend player was?
Which one?
Our team. What's
well, you said Dave. There's two of them.
Oh, I thought I said Dave O, but yeah.
Who stood out to me on the game? Man, I mean, I'm going to kind of go left field here, but Colin Chandler, man.
He had some key buckets, man.
He had some key buckets. He had some fantastic help. There was one play, I think Coach Sis brought it up, where Noah got beat on a back cut, and his man was going right to the lane for a layup, and Colin Chandler stepped right in there and stole the ball. Mm-hmm. And like I said, and he also had a giant pair of nuts and hit those two, major threes also to help us out. So I mean, Colin Chandler was super impressive in that game. Obviously, Lamont Butler playing hurt. had some key 3-pointers in that game,
yeah.
as well as getting to the rim with that injured shoulder. So, I mean, without him, I mean, it just goes to show what could have been. I know we don't talk about injuries and excuses, but what could have been if he would have been in some of those games. So
that was then. This is now.
Yeah.
Corey, I'll tell you one person that stood out to me watching yesterday was Carr. I mean, it just seemed like on weak side help defensively, he just helped shut down some some of that inside presence. Corey, what stood out player was? Who stood out for you?
I mean, it's hard to not think about Kobe and his 23 points. He was amazing. But, I mean, I'm probably thinking more about Amari. I mean, I know a lot of us, don't like that he goes for layups a lot of times, not dunks. But, I mean, he still had 8 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 blocks. I mean, he did a little bit of everything. And I think defense is just better overall when he's out there. So I probably have to give it to Amari.
Buzz Chandler filling Jackson's role. Fair, foul? You buy and sell?
No, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. But I do want to give a shout. I'm telling you, Corey Price is the star of like every weekend. I mean, that dude, his base of knowledge is just so good. I mean, just right off the cuff. Now, where he gets these creepy high school pictures of people on their birthdays, that's another issue for another day. But he got.
We talked about that. Do you? Well, finish your thought real quick. And
yeah,
then
he got to work. He got to work for the networks this weekend doing specialty stats, and I'm sure they were raving about him afterwards because he's great. But I think what it shows is not only what Lamont Butler actually does, but the effect he has on the opponent. Yeah. I mean, he not only scores, it's like Davo said, he took the contact, but you've got to account for him on the court. And so when you do that, that's going to give Chandler another little sliver of daylight to get a shot off. And then if he hits, then all of a sudden you're going to get Andrew Carr. And if you get him knocking down 2-3 threes a game, they are a tough team. You know, you can talk about what everybody does, and, you know, everybody's got their strengths and weaknesses. But, I mean, Kentucky right now, even though they're not completely healthy, they are a tough team to match up against.
Agreed. Doc, players stood out for you. Positive, negative, whatever.
Lamont Butler is the obvious choice. Everybody's talking about him, whether he's effective in scoring points or playing defense. He is the guy. The Troy coach singled him out. Illinois coach singled him out. I asked the Illinois coach about Amari Williams, and he started talking about Lamont Butler. That's how much the guy was on his mind. So I'm hoping that shoulder holds up. I mean, he's out there. That means a lot. That's worth 5 or 6 points just showing up.
Fair. Buzz, is that a purring I'm hearing in the background?
Yeah, it's a cat sitting here.
Well, I know I'm just making sure it's the cat purring, not somebody else. Buzz, we talked about Corey's day-to-day and the day he had. And like a lot of us, and we did talk about this at the beginning, so Corey's okay with mentioning it. To see Corey, our guy Corey Price, have to defend himself over something that was just totally, first of all, it was just totally stupid. The fact that it was clearly not him, but I think Dockage alluded, you use a burner account or used a burner account, whatever. Right. Dave,
I'm not aware of what happened.
Are you serious?
1,000%.
Okay. Corey, real quick, sum it up for him. I got to get Buzz's take.
So I posted a picture of Dan Dockage from high school on Twitter, and someone used that picture to send Dan a DM and use some awful language towards Dan. It was awful. And then Dan accused me of having a burner account and sending him that picture and that awful message.
Without ever checking with you.
Right.
You know, he talks, he's a big talker now. There's no question he's a big talker. And he talks about I know he goes after Kentucky fans routinely, and he likes to present himself as the white knight for walking out of that situation at West Virginia. But the deal is, pick up the phone and call somebody, right? I mean, it's not that hard anymore. I mean, I can't imagine if somebody called, you wouldn't you wouldn't call him back, and he's just trying to get fodder for what he's doing. And I'm sorry that happened. I hate the fact that happened, but I mean,
Right.
I just don't understand that people that just don't check. I mean, I can give John a hard time, but John isn't going to write something unless he fact checks it first. And I mean, you know, unfortunately, we're just in a world now where you cannot, if you think you're getting a message from your bank about a fraud alert, you can't click that link without you can't be certain it's not some sort of fraud or some sort of AI thing or something.
Yep. But at the same time, too,
I think another message we get.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Another message that we get through all this is how important our personal reputations are. I mean, when
Absolutely.
I saw that, never in my wildest dreams did I think that Corey would have sent anything like that out. And I think anybody who knows him realizes that was also the fact also. So, you know, somebody who's kind of on the shady side, say maybe he sent it, maybe he didn't. But if your reputation is pure, then you don't have to worry about those things.
Here's what I've always said, and people have talked about this being in the business for a long time. You know, anytime anybody gives you any information, they're doing it for a reason. Some people will give you information because they want you to have it. They like you. Some people will give you information because it is not flattering toward the person who's the subject of the information, and they want to get that person. And some people will give you information because they hope you run with it and they know it's wrong. And so that's just, it's even more difficult now with the social media. All right, that's enough. Get out of here. It's just impossible, you know, you just got to be super careful.
That's enough. Get out of here. I'm going to show this.
I'm welcome to stay as long as she can behave.
Well, I'm going to show this. I'm not necessarily going to read it out loud, but I'm still looking for a sponsor, right?
Yeah.
Just saying. All right, guys. Where we at? Good talk. Nitpicking. What's one thing, Terry, that still you feel like potentially needs we need to start, or the team needs to do better at?
I mean, they're winning games in March. Now's not the time to nitpick.
Okay.
That's my. I mean, yeah, did people miss shots? Yes. Did they turn it over? Yes. But it's hard to look a fairly comfortable 10-point win in the mouth.
Fair.
They're 1 of 16.
1 of 16. All right. Well, then I'll skip any type of negativity. Let's move ahead to Tennessee. You know, we've said this before. It's all about matchups. Terry, I'll stay with you. Tennessee is a good matchup for us. They're a good team. They're a really good team.
Yeah.
We beat them twice, Terry.
Yeah.
Can we do it a third time?
Yes.
And why? How?
Because we've done it before. We'll do it again. Like, I know people talk about beating a team 3 times in a year, but I don't think that's that big a deal. We've beat them shorthanded. This is probably as healthy as we're going to be playing Tennessee. Mm-hmm. So I look forward to it. I think this team's going to be elite. I think we beat Tennessee.
Davo?
I'm going to try not to ruin my good guy reputation with Buzz and Doc on here and try not to drop too many curse
Use
words.
the reputation that you have with me.
Just be yourself, Davo.
Be yourself, Dave. There you go.
This one time, I really fucking hate Tennessee. Okay, and that has never been a secret. There was an account, and there's so many of them bastards that tweet just stupid stuff all the time on Twitter. But
that leaves very little room for interpretation, Davo, but go ahead.
But there was one specific account that said, this is going to be our biggest game in program history against Kentucky in the Sweet 16. And that right there goes to show you the highest of highest levels that we are above them in basketball, right? Now, is this a very important game to us too? Well, yeah, because we want to keep them fuckers out of the Final Four again, correct? So, yeah, this is a massive game for us too, because the last thing we want to do is lose to them bastards and we got to hear it over and over and over again on Twitter. So now that I have displeasured my feelings against Tennessee on here publicly, that is a great matchup for us. We talked about matchups, okay? We talked about how bad of a matchup Alabama was for Kentucky, between the athleticism, between how much they can score and how quickly they can score. That was tough for us to keep up with, especially, with the team that we had whenever we played them 2 times in a row, right? But Tennessee, we match up really favorably against them. They don't score a whole lot. We got 2 guards that can really lock down their guards. You really are going to have to see Ziegler, right? Is that his last name? The guy who's been there 15 years. So you got to see him shoot and hit a bunch of threes on us for them really to give us a chance. And I don't think Chaz Lanier likes playing us, because every time we play against him, we shut him down. So, look, it's a good matchup. It's 3 hours from Lexington. Hopefully it feels like a home game, and we send them back down there where they belong, and we don't have to hear from them for 365 days. Okay.
Corey, you want to follow that up? You got any adjectives to throw at the color orange?
Not quite that. We've beaten Tennessee 3 times, 4 times before, but only once in the last 70 years. So it's it'll be tough. But like Dave said, I think I like the matchup. I think I'm not honestly too worried about their bigs. They're not elite on offense. They are pretty good on defense. Most of the season, if we can knock down our threes, I like our chances.
Doc, do you think they bring this same effort Sunday? It's a winnable effort against Tennessee.
I'll tell you this. I feel a lot better about the game now than I did 2 weeks earlier. Every time I watch Zakai Ziegler, he looks like he's a world beater. And then the times that he's played us, he's really stunk up the joint. Yeah. So especially with this team, with Kentucky I'm talking about, you just really can't predict what's going to happen. The only thing I know for sure is I'm not going to be able to see any of the action, because with the game held at Lucas Oil Stadium, I am going to be way up there. I'm going to be counting on you guys to kind of be texting me the action, because the time the speed of sound reaches my ears, the game's probably going to be
tomorrow.
Over
the next.
I'm not complaining either. I'm in the building. I'm in the building. That's okay. No complaints.
Just a pampered member of the media.
Give me nachos and I'll be fine.
Nachos. Can't go wrong. Dave, your take on Tennessee?
Well, a couple different things. I believe in the matchup thing that Dave-O was saying. If you remember back when Pitino was last here, it was his last season, and Eddie Fogler at South Carolina had 2 guards, Melvin Watkins and B.J. Mack.
Mackey, yeah.
And Pitino thought if his team played defense properly, that they could stop them playing man-to-man. And those dudes just went through them like the little thing in the Pac-Man game. And the very last game that Rick coached here as Kentucky coach, he got thrown out with about 30 seconds left because he was complaining about the fact that they were getting away with too much. Now, the other thing is back in – it would have been the mid-'80s, I guess, when Kenny Walker was having his big year. Kentucky beat LSU 3 times in a season. They beat them home and home, and then they beat them in the SEC tournament. If I'm right, Corey, then they lost to them in the regional final in Atlanta with a trip to the Final Four on the line. I mean, the one thing that I will say here is I don't know what anybody else does. I'm not throwing shade on people. As the kids say, but I can promise you that Mark Pope won't have the same game plan that he had the first time, and he won't have the same game plan that he had the second time, and he's gone back and looked at those most recent analytics and broken down how they've changed since they've played the first 2 times. So because of that, I feel really good about the matchup.
That's a good take. Very good take. I tell you what, Terry, the more this season has played out, the more I get to hear Coach Pope talk, pressers, post-game, whatever. I mean, obviously, yeah, he gets the program, but I mean, this dude is just it's just a genuinely good guy, and you could see how his players react to him. There's genuine, it's just to me, genuine love as a coach, and a mentor too. Go ahead.
Yeah, just all the hugs. It was very genuine. My favorite clip that I saw this morning was Pope going into the locker room with Kentucky to put it on the big bracket. Like that's special stuff, right? And watching Coach Pope and Leanne and the girls, like it's come to be a perfect fit. I think Dave, you had that post. Like, where were you when, kind of where was your mentals when Pope first got hired? And I'll admit, yeah, I was not on board at first. I was like, what in the world? Like, what are we doing?
Half of BBN wasn't. I think it's fair to say.
But then, you get the presser. And it's like, okay, he's won that. And then you get a lot of dudes. He knows what he's doing. And then the season rolls around. He beats Duke and starts notching some other kind of milestone. It's like, okay. And the thing I like most about Pope is that man can design a play. Like, I go back to the Oklahoma game where Owe, was going for 20 straight points. They cut him out of a timeout. They run kind of a high post thing. Williams has the ball at the top of the key. Owe gets a layup, and he's wide open. Like, this guy that has scored 18 straight points is now wide open for a layup. How does that happen? Good play design. So I'm like Buzz. What we saw the first two times against Tennessee, we're not going to see again. And he's going to scheme things where it's going to make it easier for the players.
Good takes. Good take. I got to Corey confirm this stat. Did I see correctly that Pope, which actually now thinking about it would have to be correct, is the first coach to basically take a brand new team into the Sweet 16, or how?
It's a team with no previous experience, right? Nobody returned, something like that in the Corey.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think over the last 20 years, no team had gone to the Sweet 16 with 0 points returning from the year prior.
0 points. There you go. Someone is saying, Buzz, you need a squirt gun.
For my cat?
Well,
no, we have a squirt thing. It's just downstairs. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you know one thing that's still on BBN's mind that I wish would not be, Terry? Is Coach Cal.
Let's just get it over with.
Can we just stop with the nonsense? Now, I think there would have been a big part of, I don't know, big part. There's a part of BBN that was concerned that Cal would one up Pope in the tournament. But, now they're on the same playing field.
Can I interrupt for just a second? Who is this part of the BBN that you talk to? I
don't talk to any of them. I see it. You do not see? Somehow, some way, maybe it's just the people that I somehow find or I just gravitate to. But am I not right that there is there might be a small, but it's enough to make noise, Terry? And
there's a percentage of people that still think the moon landing was fake, that they did it in the studio, for crying out loud.
Well, they also think Cal's fake, but go ahead.
But I just think, as someone who's gone through a divorce, sometimes you still look back and you keep track of what the other one's doing. But at some point, everybody's better off going their separate ways. And I just hope that our fans get to the point where you thank Cal for what he did, and he's now in Fayetteville, and we've got our guy. I think I saw a thing today, Cal is in the Sweet 16 and Pope replaced him. He's in the Sweet 16. And then BYU's coach that replaced Pope is in the Sweet 16. So it works out, don't worry about what the other team is doing. But I do understand it a little bit because I get that.
Okay. Davo, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'll keep it short. I mean, look, I understand, especially this season, there's going to be some animosity, towards Cal, and there's going to be some comparison seasons, because of just the way people are, right? But at the end of the day, just give him his flowers. Great job getting Arkansas into the tournament. Good run. Nice win over St. John's. And good luck in your next game.
Yeah. One of the things, Corey, I saw too, some people, I see it, that they were saying, where was this with Cal, him winning this, getting to the Sweet 16? Where was this with Cal the last few seasons with all the talent we have? Maybe it's because talent doesn't always equal a good team. He's got all the talent in the world, but as a good team, great team, we lacked. Corey,
hey, Dave-O, let me ask you this. Just for me, I don't see that he's changed one iota of anything as a coach. He's running the same stuff with the same players. He is a guy who has always said he's a better coach when he's got better talent. And so be it. Here's what I'm going to say, just real quickly. Big Blue Nation would have never gotten bunched up at Pitino had he gone anyplace else but Louisville. And he's admitted leaving here the first time was the biggest mistake he's ever made. And the guy's made mistakes and the guy's done things, but he is in the best place I've ever seen him in his life. And I was here when he got here on day one. Yeah. And he really loves that job up there. He really loved coaching these kids. I mean, he got whacked by Calipari. And if Calipari was, if Calipari was all consuming to him like it was early in his career, he would have never gone up to Cleveland last night and watched that game where Richard was coaching, for a spot in the Sweet 16 himself.
Good point.
And I'm just really, really happy. And I hope Cal is in that place. And I think, everybody who's ever had a relationship go bad, it's always worse when you're the person that's jilted, right? Now, I don't know what percentage of the BBN wanted him to go on, but I mean, the fact of the matter is he left. He had a job and he chose to leave. So good luck. And I think I don't know if you've talked about this or not, but this is how crazy this stuff has all gotten. Do you realize that the portal opened today?
5.
So you've got 16 teams that are still coaching for a national championship this year. And they were having meetings and stuff and making calls and everything about transfers. I mean, it's nuts.
I saw someone post there was at one point 500 players already in the portal.
It's over 600 now.
Or 600.
600?
Jesus. Corey, staying with you. Your take on the whole Cal narrative still lingering.
I can see where some fans are coming from, being worried if Cal got worse than we did, but I mean I don't see the point in putting too much effort and energy in what some doing. I'm a huge fan of UK. I have been, always will be. So I'm going to focus all of my effort and energy towards cheering on the Cats. And if I'm sure there is one year where Cal might go further than us, I mean it's possible, but I can't dwell on that too much.
Out of our hands, out of our control. Yep. Doc, final thought on
Kevin, I agree. I think there are a lot of people who are still interested, probably more so than they need to be. I'm probably one of those. I mean, I enjoy drama, and what better way to drum up drama than to have the jilted lover? But when you think about it, Calipari spent 15 years here. He's a big part of the history of our program, the program with the greatest tradition in the history of college basketball. You don't necessarily want to rewrite or erase that anymore. So it's natural, I think, to have an interest in seeing how he does. I cheer for him. I make no bones about it. I was cheering for him against Pitino, and I wanted him to win. I'm glad to see that he's where he is. I think he deserves it. And to see the pictures, the photos of his wife and daughter and how much they were invested in all of this, it just kind of warmed my heart. More power to him.
But why would you cheer for him over Pitino?
I feel like
Pitino didn't leave us for Arkansas. He left for the NBA, and he thought he was going to get David Robinson in the lottery.
David, it's all about me. Calipari wrote 2 forwards to my book. I've got an
Amen.
interest
Thank
in him.
God.
Just
Yeah,
like
okay,
just
I
like
got
Chris Beard's my guy now, you know? It's the connections.
It is the
relationship.
biggest bromance in college basketball, you and Chris Beard right now. I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
I'm kind of jealous, but yeah. So,
But let me just say this: you talked about the proud history of Kentucky basketball, and Corey can tell me this. In all the years of Kentucky basketball, they had never gone 5 years without going to a Sweet 16, is my understanding. And if Pope hadn't pulled a rabbit out of his hat, that would have happened this year because of what didn't happen the previous 4 and beyond.
one of those COVID, in fairness, but to your point, yes, Corey, is that true? I know, I'm just saying. But again, I say this, the knock on the previous team, people who were talking about why he couldn't do this the last few years, is that again, the guy can get the players. It's just they can't gel as a team. But
that's because they're young. I mean, that's the big debate in college basketball right now. And they talked about Cal being a forerunner of things, the way that Pitino was the forerunner of the 3. I mean, he's still stuck on the wrong end of the one and done, in my opinion. The one and dones that you want to get now are these guys that are
the old guys
that have played 4 or 5 years.
Oh yeah,
that you've got a Lamont Butler who's played in a national championship game. And I mean,
I'll take those one and dones over the kids. Yeah,
and I mean, how in the world did we end up getting Big Z instead of Bigger Z? I mean, did you not think Zavonimir's brother is a much more developed
he's
player
more
now?
I think so.
Than the Big Z is? Yeah. Ever since Boogie Fland has come back, the only place you have seen Big Z is in the media guide.
Or you're on the bench.
Hey, Kevin, real quick.
Sure. Yep.
Buzz, you asked me if there's any difference between Cal and Arkansas than the previous year at Kentucky. Well, in Cal, no. Like, he's still screaming "go" at the top of his lungs. He's still staring down every ref possible, just begging for a tech.
Right.
But like you said, this year's team, he's got a DJ Wagner sophomore, he's got Big Z sophomore, he's got a Duthiero junior, he's got Trevor in Brazil, so on and so forth. So this is an older team,
a little bit older.
Yeah. So you got Boogie Fland is what the only freshman he really had come in. So this is kind of a different kind of looking team from Cal. So we'll see next year whenever he gets him high profile freshmen in again and not so older. Then we'll see what he can do at Arkansas. But like I said,
go Davo. Let's go Davo.
Like I said, I'm getting killed here in the chat by nobody, and we got to figure out who that is because he's funny. But I don't want to wish.
Why do you even turn the comments on?
Because he's funny. I actually like him or her, whoever it is. But
okay.
It's all in fun.
You gotta wish him good luck. I don't want to see him go further than us, but I have gotten way past the point now where he's gonna do whatever he's gonna do, and we gotta just cheer on what our cats and worry about what we're doing at this point.
Good points. All right, guys.
Are we about to that point, boss?
We are about the point. Terry, we do. Tennessee is next. Give me a prediction. What are you thinking, feeling?
I would say Cats by 5. I think they get it done, and we become elite, and we keep this thing going, man. Scared money don't make money. Like, look, we all say the last 5 years were terrible. No Sweet 16s. We get it. Fortunately, I'm older than 5 years. I'm older than 5 years old, so I have seen Kentucky win a lot. It's okay, Kentucky fans, to accept the greatness that Doc talks about, the greatest tradition. If we have the greatest tradition, then act like it. I'm tired of the woe is me fans when I look at our trophy case. What are you talking about? Like, we're Kentucky. We're going to win.
It's what have you done lately with a lot of the fans? You know that. But big picture, yeah.
Okay.
I'm with you. 5-point win for the Cats on was it Friday night? Right?
Friday night at 7:39.
Yeah, Davo, give me your prediction.
I don't think it's particularly close, honestly. I think anywhere between 12 and 15. Like I said, I don't think they match up with us well. I think they're going to be overly aggressive. I think they're not going to be ready, for Colin Chandler and what he has been bringing. I don't think have they seen Lamont Butler this year? Did Lamont play against him at all? Or was he either both times? Corey,
Dave, wasn't that first win down at Tennessee the first time? Or Corey could tell me this too. The first time that Butler went down, Kentucky had hit a little bit of a lull, and I believe that Tennessee was still ranked top 5.
they were number 4,
double-digit favorites.
Yeah. Yes, like I said, we talk about matchups all the time. I think Kentucky exploits them. I think Tennessee is way too over-aggressive on defense. I think we hit 10-plus threes on them, and I think we run them out of Indianapolis.
Nice. Corey, what do you got? Corey Price?
Yeah. I like our chances, like the first two guys said. Like I said, it depends on our 3. But I say we'll win 72.
79? 77. Okay. Doc.
I mentioned earlier that reputation is everything. I am a person of integrity. On my brackets, I had picked Tennessee. I really can't change at this particular point. I'm going to go Vols 78-72.
Oh.
Sometimes you got to go with your head, not your heart, Maybe they're the same, but
No, I'm in it to win it. The bracket.
Doc, can I remind you that you're a reporter? So you picked that.
What does that have to do with it?
I'm about to tell you. You picked that bracket before the tournament started. So if you have seen these teams play now and you have come to a different conclusion, that does not make you a man who lacks integrity.
So 2 games in for both teams, that hasn't changed your mind, Doc?
Well, I've also watched Tennessee. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. These games don't exist in a vacuum. There's Kentucky. They're playing well. I think Tennessee is also playing well. When you come to think of it, this could be Rick Barnes's last rodeo, don't you think? There may be a little bit win this one for the Gipper, for the old ball coach.
Or he keeps failing with all that talent, too, he said. Buzz, your prediction, sir.
Rick Barnes is a great coach. And besides that, and John talks about integrity, and I'm sure John has heard some of the same stories as I have. I mean, he is a man of incredible faith, and he lives that faith every day. As good of a coach as he is, and he's a Hall of Fame coach, he's a better dude. Now, that being said, that doesn't have anything to do with what happens in the game. I think Kentucky wins the game as long as Lamont Butler doesn't fall between now and Friday. As long as Amari Williams gets his Weetabix for breakfast and, plays like he did on Sunday instead of how he played on Friday night. And I tell you, I think they've got enough talent to not only win on Friday, but to win on Sunday if Houston or whoever else comes out there. And they would be motivated if they got the Fighting Wongs on Sunday and your guy Chris Beard and I want to see if that matchup happens. If you come on this program and still say I'm a man of integrity and Chris Beard is my coach.
Stay tuned. That's the next episode. We'll save it. I have to bring up something real quick. After Kentucky won yesterday, Pope picked up an automatic 1-year contract extension, $50,000 bonus for reaching the Sweet 16. He gets guaranteed through
another
March.
year.
Yeah, March 31, 2030. I have to bring this up mainly for Doc, Buzz, anybody that's chime in. There was this thing where after UConn lost, Hurley, as he's walking into the locker room, made some point. And I'm paraphrasing.
Of course he did.
Some, to players, hope they don't. I'm just blurted out. Fuck you, like the refs don't, like they were getting.
Hope they don't do to you what they did to us.
Right, with some language. And the guy who recorded the video, posted the video, got threats from the UConn AD to take it down, or I'm going to ruin you. As a journalist, I mean, there's some recourse there, right, Doc? If somebody's coming at you like that, making threats to your
Was the guy who
livelihood?
posted it, was he a journalist, or he could have been anybody now, right?
Well,
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
He was.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it was a TV station out of somewhere in the Northeast,
and he was in an area where the media was allowed to be, and he was not the only person there, and it was all above board.
That's my understanding. Yes.
Doc, are you familiar with this?
Yeah, I am. I thought what was also funny was that Hurley has the gall to go on later on national TV and cry crocodile tears afterwards. I thought that was a bad look when you had the video right with that juxtaposed. But no, I use the word for myself, journalist, very loosely. I prefer the word media member. Because whenever UK reaches out their gnarly claws and tells me to pipe down, I usually do what they ask me to do. I don't make any bones about it. Yeah. So whether that's true journalism or not, it probably isn't. But
so are you saying you would have taken the video down after the school threatened you and your livelihood?
Yes, I would.
Would you?
Yes.
What gnarly
been
claw?
Like this to them, man? Really? Okay.
What
I'll
gnarly
pin it
claw?
on my page.
You mean you haven't gotten the proverbial knock on the door at midnight saying, "Dave Baker, please report to Tony Neely's office"?
Absolutely not.
All right, maybe I do.
What would your reaction have been?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
I've had people ask me about things before, and here's the thing I keep telling people.
He would
The
never
majority of the
post
media in
anything
Lexington-
remotely negative about University of Kentucky. See, that's truly
Well, hold on a second, John. I want you to look over my shoulder right there. You see what that is?
Is
That's
that a
Billy
Backstreet Boys poster?
That's Billy Gillespie. And I've always said, if you don't know who you want and you don't know you can hire him, you end up getting Billy Gillespie.
Oh.
And I'm going to tell you, and I never had a bad moment with Billy. I mean, whoa. Sorry, my thing fell. But Billy actually came out to the station the day that he had his worst day and asked my boss and I if we wanted to go play golf with him. But I never had a bad moment with him, but I've never seen anybody treat people worse than he did. And I said some things very early on about what I had seen and observed with him. And if you remember when K Wood had his first conversation with Coach Rupp famously said, "If we stink, by God, burn us." And I don't think anybody, I think it's one of the great misnomers in sports that if you're a home team announcer, you're a homer. I know that, nobody can say that about Marty Brenneman, who's going to be getting a statue out in front of Great American. Now, there are guys who I know who played. There were some players who thought that Marty was much harder on the players than on the coaches or the managers because he interviewed the manager every day. But I mean, I don't think that's that's a valid thing. I mean, do you want? I still kind of feel bad at times because Bill Curry's a much better guy than I am. And I mean, I was very close to the situation when Couch committed here and everything. And so they said he didn't play down at Alabama that game because he had a sore shoulder. He must have thrown 350 passes on the sidelines that day. That's all he did was throw the ball. And I was critical of Curry. And I've subsequently been with Bill on some things. He's a wonderful man, but it was the wrong thing to do. And you can question what somebody does without questioning them personally.
Fair.
But what I'd also say is that we are really blessed to have somebody like Pope. And if you have to have somebody like Hurley to win back-to-back national championships, I don't want him.
It worked out.
There ain't kids lined up around Rupp Arena waiting to get his autograph after a game, or 4,000 people staying in the arena, or you know,
or he's not going to run up a
listen,
flight of steps to go
I'm sure
say
he's
hey
a good
to
dude.
Yeah.
But I mean, he just becomes unhinged at times.
Oh, good.
And you know, that's not who I want out there on the point representing my team.
All right.
Hey, I do want to go on record, and Dave, you and I, we get on here and we kind of joke and banter and volleyball
we do
things
banter.
back and forth, but
I'm glad.
I really do think that Dave Baker is one of the Mount Rushmore guys from UK media. Now, I've always listened to you. I respect you. I really enjoy your takes, and I am dead serious about this question. So I want you to answer me seriously, though. How do you, we're all humans, there's human nature involved. How do you avoid developing a relationship that is biased because of how well you are treated by somebody? For example, I see Coach Pope right now. He's hugging media members. He's giving shout outs. He had all the media who traveled to Milwaukee come out and take a group picture with the team.
Nice.
Were you not in that picture?
I purposely wanted to walk away from that because I don't want in any way to be beholden to anybody from that standpoint. And I find it very, very difficult if you know somebody on a personal level to be true and objective in reporting on what they do. My question is, what's going to happen when things go downhill and it's no longer all this lovey-dovey with the media corps right now? How do you address that? How do you approach that?
I can only tell you my own experience. Dave, am I allowed to ask your age?
Yes. I'm proud to say I'm going to be 38 in a few months.
Dear God, you're just a kid. Okay, so back
Corey's
during
the kid.
back when Eddie Sutton was here, he and I were very close. And I can say some of this stuff now because he's not here. But I mean, everybody knew Eddie had a problem. I was around him a lot. I was in the locker room. I was at his house. That was back when he came out to the TV station and did his show. I never saw him take a drink. Never saw it, but knew when he had. And so the big thing that brought the whole deal down was the Sean Kemp thing. And for people that don't remember, Sean Sutton had a $300
necklace.
It's not a necklace, but a wrist thing. What the heck am I trying to say? Yeah, had it stolen. Bracelet. Thank you, John. Bracelet. And it was stolen, and they filed a police report. And Terry McBrayer, who I call my favorite Democrat in Kentucky, was his attorney, and Terry was a longtime supporter of the program. And so obviously the media starts chasing this story down, right? And I'm not going to go into all of it, but I can tell you Sean Kemp did not steal the bracelet. But being a streetwise kid from Elkhart, Indiana, he had no problem going down and pawning it. And so he pawns it, and there's a regulation in Lexington that when you do that, you have to have your picture taken. So it was right there. So I'm covering high school football on a Friday night. I get a call from the guy who was literally in charge of the pawn shop detail in Lexington. And he's like, this is not good. And so I remember the next day, I called Terry. I said, Terry, we're going to have to report this. I said, did you guys ever think for a second that if this was stolen from the lodge, it might be somebody who means a lot to you that actually either picked it up or hiked it? And he said, that's what they want to do, and we're going to do it. And so I want to say it was a week later when all this stuff started torrenting down. I got a call from Eddie. It was on a Saturday night, and he was ready to walk away. And he said, do you think we can get this on CBS tomorrow? Absolutely, we can. So I called the guys from CBS, and they got it set up. And he actually, if you go back and Google the stuff after we get off the air, he actually did his retirement thing from our newsroom. And Rob Romley and I were standing in there with Terry when it happened. Okay. And all you can do is just be fair to people. You know, it's not like you're trying to cover anything up, but it's like, dude, this is like a mountain of evidence. You know, people are going to report this. And I don't know if that's the right thing to do or not, but he and I were always good. He understood totally. And, you know, I hope I answered your question, John. That's the best I can probably do.
Well, I think you can validate the idea that it's a lot easier to report something like that if you're not golfing buddies with the guy. Yes? No?
Well, Eddie didn't play golf.
Yeah.
So
you know what I mean.
No, I know, but I mean, but John, at some point in time, you just can't avoid it. I mean, when there is a preponderance of the facts that are there, you know, if I was Eddie Sutton, sports information director, I would have told him, Coach, you can do whatever you want to do, but this ain't going to end well. And if you just walked away from the $300 bracelet, we wouldn't be having this discussion. Fair. But you've gone down that road, and I mean, you know, well, you know, this is another show, and I've got to go eat dinner at some point.
Yeah, we got to. Let's wrap it up, guys. Final shots. Final shot time. Terry, go.
Final shot. Shout out to the SEC. 7 teams in the Sweet 16. It just means more.
It does. Good take. 17th. Davo, final shot, sir.
Yeah, I haven't mentioned them in a while, but because we're going to start cruising into that season before we know it, I'm pretty inside my old high school football program, and they just released their schedule. And kudos to Coach White for it's a scrimmage, but setting up a matchup, the last scrimmage before the regular season against Boyle County. Okay, so congratulations on getting that scrimmage. I'm looking forward to see how we measure up. We definitely upped our schedule this year, so I'm super excited to watch the Atherton Ravens keep climbing the ladder in a 5A competition.
Nice. Corey Price, final shot, sir.
Late last week, UK lost a legend. Vernon Hatton passed away. He won a title at UK in 1958. He was Mr. Basketball in the state. He won a state title in Lafayette. He's one of 3 guys ever to be Mr. Basketball, win a state title in high school, and a national title in college basketball.
Wow.
He had 2 great shots against Temple in that 1958 year, once during the season, once in 4 to lead him to the finals. It's an awesome guy. We're all going to miss him.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Corey. Thanks for hanging with us tonight, too. Doc, final shot.
Big shout out to families. When I see Coach Pope and his wife and daughters, and Coach Kenny Brooks and his wife and daughters, and Cal and his daughters, and Brad, it just goes to show you that a person's individual success is often related to how much support he gets from their family. So shout out to families, family strong.
Great take, Doc. And I echo that with both Pitino and Cal. I mean, they were they were great, and they still are. And that's Megan, who you saw, who was going through those gyrations and everything. The one shout out I want to final shot.
Yes, sir. Go.
Totally different situation, but let's not forget, boys and girls, Tubby Smith won it all in his first year. It was a very different circumstance, but to think that a first-year coach can come in and win it all is not far-fetched, because it's happened at the greatest program in college sports.
What a way to end the show. Great show tonight, guys. Much love for y'all hanging out with me. The chat, appreciate you all in the chat. We got a big-time game Friday night. I think we're feeling pretty good, pretty damn good, and it's been a successful season. Thank you for the fireworks, Terry. I hope you have some fireworks later too. Everyone,
wow,
BBN, yes, BBN, it's a guy thing. Wishing everyone a good week. Go Cats. Peace out. Much love. Be safe. We're gonna do it again. Hey, I'm gonna do Twitter Space X Spaces tomorrow night.
And if you see a Tennessee fan, make sure to wave to them.
Oh dear God!
Tell them they're number one.
Good night.
Peace
Dear
out, guys. Later.
Lord.
I love it.
All right, I'll see you from the rafters.